This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Watch me go, never slow. Make 'em whoa. Watch me go. Watch me go, never slow. Make 'em whoa. Watch me go. Ready, set, go.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum bang again.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, it sure does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Today is Thursday, August the 14th of 2025, day 226 of the year, and only 139 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Yeah, some radio, some sarcasm. I don't think it can hurt anything in regards to what we're talking about. No doubt there, that's for sure, as we are doing our thingo. So anyways, how have you been? Has a lot of stuff changed in the last 24 hours? If not, good. If it has, well, I'm kind of concerned, and hopefully it's all changed for the good stuff. Yeah, the good stuff. That's how I look at it. So, our show consists of safety in the news and safety. This kind of the way that it goes in regards of what we have going on. There is no other way around that as we are talking. So let's keep that in mind as we are having this brief discussion. So there you go with that kind of stuff. So with that being said, if you want to interact with the show, simple process on doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving for us in regards of what is going on inside of the world. So no doubt there. Also, just for the sake of the reference piece, when we get to the interacting portion of the show, you can go to callinradio.com. Video, audio, text messaging is what's readily available, but we get to take a look around and I get some prompts on the screen. That's kind of really what ends up happening and kind of shows me a direction on what you're looking at and where you want to go. That's kind of the simplest process. So with that being said, that's it. Then we talk about news. We talk about safety. We give you a version of a main story. Then we go into the second hour. But don't worry, hour 2 and 3 are live on Radio Big. Yep. Hour 1 is recorded on a podcast, video cast, whatever the hell you want to call it. We're also on Safety FM and on RadioBig.fm. So there you go. That's kind of the thinger of what we do. So if you're ready, let's talk about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, let's talk about it. Notable and noteworthy, white hat hackers get the goods on a North Korean cyber spy ring. Also, Brandon Blackstock obituary reveals a surprising relationship with Kid Cudi and opens up about testifying at Diddy's trial. We'll talk about that. What else? A documentary about Ye is heading to theaters. Yeah, a documentary to the theater, so just so you know. And then what else? Prince Andrew scolds the construction workers. We'll talk about the details about that inside of the Royals. So, a lot of stuff, a lot of things going on inside of the world of the multi. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News and let them tell us about what the hell is going on inside of the news cycle.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. Tropical storm Podal dumped more than 70 millimeters of rain an hour on southern China on Thursday. Hong Kong issued its highest level weather warning, adjourning the hearing of Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai until the torrential rain subsides. Laura Westbrook reports from Asian Financial Hub.
Queues of people gathered outside court Thursday morning as the national security trial of ex-media mogul Jimmy Lai entered into its final arguments. But it was unexpectedly delayed after the local weather observatory issued its highest rainstorm warning. Residents were warned of flooding and education authorities cancelled classes. Podal weakened from a typhoon to a tropical storm after making landfall in Taiwan on Wednesday, packing winds of up to 178 kilometers per hour. One person who reportedly went fishing is missing and more than 100 injured. But it's bringing heavy rain to southern China, with some schools in Guangdong pausing classes. Some trains and ferry services were also temporarily suspended. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
National Guard troops have arrived in Washington, D.C. as part of Donald Trump's efforts to tackle what he's called out-of-control crime in the U.S. Capitol. This is despite latest figures from the Department of Justice showing a 30-year decline in violent crime. Jagruti Dave has more from Washington.
The first National Guard members, along with armoured vehicles, arrived on Tuesday evening by the Washington Monument, a landmark commemorating the first US president. Mr. Trump, the 47th president, is sending around 800 troops to take over local policing, a move slammed by the DC mayor as an authoritarian push. And it's not the first time he's done this. In June, he took policing in LA under federal control following protests against the government's immigration policies. He's threatened similar action in other Democrat-run cities such as Chicago, where crime rates have also fallen in the first half of this year.
Tropical storm Erin, currently in the Atlantic Ocean, is on pace to become the season's first major hurricane by the end of this week, according to America's National Hurricane Center.
The National Hurricane Centre says Erin will strengthen throughout the rest of the week and is currently located about 1,400 miles or more than 2,000 kilometres east of the northern Leeward Islands. It's reported that most computer models used by forecasters show Erin moving away from the US before making landfall. The Atlantic hurricane season, which began on June 1 and runs through the end of November, has a 50% chance of being above normal, according to experts. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recently raised its forecast to between 13 and 18 named storms, with up to 5 expected to become major hurricanes. In a typical season, there are about 14 named storms. Mitch McCann, New York.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, how much can be achieved at Friday's summit in Alaska between President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin? The US leader said on Wednesday there will be severe consequences for Russia if it doesn't result in Putin ending his war on Ukraine. But he also said he does not think he can persuade the Kremlin leader to stop killing civilians in Ukraine.
I've had a lot of good conversations with him. Then I go home and I see that a rocket hit a nursing home or a rocket hit an apartment building and people are laying dead in the street. So I guess the answer to that is no.
The Russians say they're coming to the summit to demand Ukraine makes territorial concessions, handing over Crimea and the whole of eastern Ukraine. But analyst Elizabeth Braw with the Atlantic Council wonders just how far down that very detailed road the summit will travel.
It is certainly something that Donald Trump has spoken of, but I wonder if Trump and Putin will get that far, considering that President Trump hasn't been involved in the details, any sort of details of any negotiations so far. So to think that he and Putin could get from a listening exercise, which is what the White House said yesterday, all the way to a deal seems quite ambitious.
President Trump says he will know within 2 minutes of meeting Vladimir Putin whether he can do business with him, and we'll have updates from FSN's Tony Waterman in Alaska on our news bulletins right here for the rest of the week. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here. But for now, that is the latest Feature Story News. Ishan Garg reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Jay Allen in the morning, weekdays on Radio Big.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC,
and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, it is. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely... What is it, Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Okay, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. So let's start talking about some tariff talk, because that's what we're going to do right now. The federal government collected $29.6 billion in tariff in July alone. Better still, since March, the Treasury has collected $101 billion in tariffs. By comparison, though, of all the fiscal year of 2024, the government collected $77 billion across 12 months. By the year's end, the federal government is on pace to collect more tariffs than the total revenue generated from corporate income tax, and yet inflation was flat in July, month over month. So there you go. What do you think there? Is it working, not working, somewhat working? No, not 100% sure. So there you go. Okay, a pair of hackers say that they've turned the tables on one of North Korea's cyber espionage divisions, a duo who go by Saber and Cyborg. Described the report as accessing a computer of North Korean hackers who works for a group called Kimsuki, a potential homage to the dear leader Kim Jong-un Jr. Kimsuki is believed to be behind the cryptocurrency heist schemes. The good hackers say that they found a clear connection between North Korea's cyber security squad and hackers funded by the Chinese Communist Party. They also found evidence of Simuski penetrating deep into the South Korean government. This is all according to TechCrunch. So now you know what I know, which is not a lot. So think about that for a moment.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. In Lawrence, South Carolina, two teens took train surfing to a whole new level, stealing a locomotive for a joyride that ended in a spectacular crash. The dynamic dipstick snuck into, yeah, I did say dipstick, not dipshit, just in case, snuck into the Carolina Pitament and the CSX railroad facilities that were somehow able to get the train engine up and running. Over 3 hours on Saturday afternoon, let's see, the joyriders chugged down a yard before hitting another line. Their attempt to stop the train went off the rails, literally smashing into a parked rail cars, causing a derailment, damaging topping of $10,000. Now facing a laundry list of charges, including second-degree burglary, grand larceny, and malicious damage to property. The teens are in the slammer at the South Carolina Department of Justice in Columbia. Lawrence Police Department Chief Heath Copeland called the Dangerous and Reckless Act, warning that trains aren't toys and rail yards aren't playgrounds. This is according to WYFF. Yeah, WYFF. Apparently I'm going to tell you this. This is how crazy it is. This news story must be like hitting it big over there, because the website is crashing in regards of the news story on WYFF. Also, probably doesn't help that it's not a secure server. So there you go. So there you go. Okay, so take a listen to this. A 2-year study of undergraduates at Northern University and University of Michigan shows that 88% of students said that they've pretended to hold more progressive views than they truly endorse in order to succeed in the social academics. Broken down by issue, 78% said that they agreed, and the far left claims about gender identity just to fit in. 72% said they did the same for politics in general, and 68% voiced belief about their family values to go with the herd. And it gets worse. Over 80% said that they've completed an assignment just to tell the professor that what they want to hear. The authors of the report write, for many, this becomes the second nature and an instinct for academics and professional self-preservation. This is according to The Hill. What do you think there? So this is where I think it gets interesting. If I sat here today and told you that I voted for Kamala, how would you feel? If I sat here and told you that I voted for Trump, how would you feel? If I sat here and said I voted for Jill Stein, how would you feel? And that's where it gets weird, because does it matter who I voted for? Does it matter who you voted for? I mean, like, is that going to change anything in regards of our relationship? The way that you and I interact? Because if it does, that's kind of a strange thing, I think, at times. I don't think that you and I will always agree on everything. I don't think that there's a lot of stuff that we agree on, period. We might have similar views on things, but I don't think that you should conform to what you think I want to hear. That's for sure. I think you should stand your own position in regards of whatever you think about whatever subject, good, bad, or indifferent. Because here's the great thing about opinions. They're your opinions. And from a perspective, if I ask you to share your opinion about something, it's your opinion. I cannot sit here and say that you're wrong. Can't say that you're right. I can say, hey, I agree with that opinion, or I disagree with that opinion, but it's not that it's a wrong or right type of thing. It's kind of a weird report, but I believe that people will do that just to blend with the flow. Is it the smartest idea? Probably not. But these things happen. Okay, take a listen to this. Residents in Fort Collins, Colorado are freaking out over multiple sightings of a Frankenstein. Yeah, but it's Frankenstein rabbits in their neighborhood. So the cottontails have been spotted with black tentacles like growth sprouting out of their faces. Yeah, not a joke here. It looks like a black squill or black toothpick sticking out of their out and around their mouths. One local tells KUSA TV that the spokesperson in Colorado that the Parks and Wildlife say that the growth are caused by viral infections called the cocktail rabbit palomavirus. Besides the unsightly growth, the virus has been shown to have significant effects in the animal's health. It also is unlikely to spread to other things. So there you go. That's kind of a weird one. Let me see if I can find a picture. Of course I can't find a picture. Why would I be able to find a picture? No. It's kind of ugly. I'm not going to lie. Why can't I watch this? Technology. Yeah. It's apparently whatever it's supposed to be showing, it's not showing. It's showing something entirely different. So a lot of weird stuff there. Okay, so let me not get the picture over here because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay, so let's continue talking. Let's talk about the swamp because some people are going to care about that. The Real Clear Politics approval rating has President Trump at 45.9%. That's 2 points higher than both Barack Obama and George W. Bush at the same time of their second term. Mass deportation, tariffs, and endings in preventing wars, ending DEI, and making government more efficient are the spectacularly popular, even if the man himself isn't. And then there's this. In another set of emails released by the Director of National Intelligence on Wednesday, Obama-era spooks are once again exposed and completely inventing the Russia collusion hoax that was designed to get Trump in to get Trump in his first administration. The National Security Agency director at the time, Mike Rogers, sent an email to the intelligence officials concerned about that report suggesting that Russia interfered with the election to help Trump that was being rushed, that the evidence just wasn't there. In response, the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, demanded that Rogers and the NSA to be on the same page and supportive of the report. In order to do so, Clapper writes, we may have to compromise on our normal modalities. In other words, there wasn't any real reliable evidence to connect Trump to Russia, so they had to lie because Obama told them to do so. This is all written by the editor, by the way, because I am always kind of concerned when it leans so far one way or the other. As sinister as this is, even worse, the media apparatus took the marching orders and published the lies and leaked the information from the highest levels of the Obama-era intelligence community at the same time the media that lied about the Biden mental decline. Here you have the government co-opting the media further in ideological and political goals, but somehow Trump is the fastest dictator. I love how this doesn't lean one way or the other. Let me rephrase that. This leans strongly one way, not the other. It's just not down the middle. I think it should be information, and let's kind of go from there. And some other information listed here. So when people like Trump policies. So let's try this again. So when people like Trump policies but don't like him, it might be because there have been endless lies about the true character and intentions over the decades. So there you go. Don't know what to say. So what do you think about these editorial leads? I mean, I will tell you where the information comes from, how I got a hold of it. Doesn't necessarily mean I agree with any of the stuff. Period. But I want to share it with you because that's just kind of how I am when it comes to this stuff. So let's do this because I think this will be interesting as we are talking. No doubt about that. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about the numbers because I think that this is going to be important. The Dow gained, 463 points to close at 44,922 on Wednesday. The S&P increased by 20 points to close at 6,466, and the Nasdaq increased by 31 points to close at 21,713. West Texas Intermediate closed at $62 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $65 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.15 on Wednesday, and Bitcoin got close to a new all-time high, just around $122,000 on Wednesday. And Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for a $198 million jackpot or an $89.3 million cash payout. So if you're ready to take a look at that, we are able to do so as well. Okay, at the top of the hour, we talked about this, so let's talk about it now. Brandon Blackstock's obituary lists a woman by the name of Brittany Marie Jones as his loving partner. Jones is former assistant of Blackstock's ex-wife. Jones is the former assistant of Blackstock's ex-wife Kelly Clarkson. There is no mention of Clarkson in the obituary, which is normal by some standards, but she and Blackstock share 2 kids together, and she paused her Vegas residency to be there in the final days. While that may have been more about support to her kids, some feel that regardless of the reason, she could have been mentioned. This is according to New York Post. Worth noting, Blackstock's first ex-wife and mother of his two eldest children is also not mentioned. So, there you go. Some stuff going on right there. So, just to make sure that I follow along real quick, we're saying here that the dude was going out with Kelly Clarkson's assistant. That's interesting when it's all said and done. Okay, take a listen to this. Kid Cudi says that he hated testifying in the Sean Combs trial, but wanted to support his ex Cassie. Appearing on Call Her Daddy podcast, Cody tells host Alex Cooper that he only testified because he was subpoenaed after telling the federal investigators no a few times. Cudi and Cassie briefly dated, which reportedly enraged Combs, who may have not been tossed to a Molotov cocktail at the rapper's Porsche. This is according to TMZ. So there you go. Yeah, Call Her Daddy. I have to tell you, I wasn't very familiar. I mean, I had heard the name of the podcast a few years ago, but I wasn't very familiar with the show itself. And I watched a little documentary on Hulu called, the name of the documentary was called Her Alex. And I have to tell you, I've been pretty impressed with Alex Cooper in regards of the stuff that she's been able to pull off. And her backstory, just in regards to the soccer, and then tie into some of the stuff that happened in university to her, I was kind of amazed overall just to take a listen of what was happening. No doubt about that. She seems like a very amazing individual. Listen, I have not listened to quote unquote any of the podcast itself, even though she does reference podcast number 3 of hers, pretty much says that it's one of her most popular ones. Take that as you may in regards of talking about this, because I never know, what other people are doing on their podcast, even though I used to listen to all kinds of podcasts before. Anyways, homage to Alice Cooper, I guess. And by the way, awesome working some deals with Sirius XM. But I guess I'm marking out now to Alex Cooper, it sounds like. Anyways, with that being said, it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so why don't we go ahead and do this and start talking about our main story, because I'm getting to the point that I think it needs to be done. So let's do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So I have a question for you, because I think that this is almost where we need to start. And my question starts off something like this. Are you a quitter? No. You heard me correct. Are you a quitter? I know it's a hard question to ask, and kind of a weird question to ask, especially when we start going into a main story. But I have a question for you. When you hear that, how does that question make you feel? Do you feel odd? Do you feel awkward? Are you okay? All kinds of all the fun stuff. And the reason that I bring this up is because I want to have a basic understanding. I want to know how you feel about some stuff. I want to know how you feel in regards to what's going on inside of the world. I want to know how you feel with things that are changing. And the reason that I mention this is because sometimes in our workplaces, people get burned out. And when they start getting burned out, one of the most local rationale of what people do is they start looking for other positions. And I will tell you that some people will look at this and go, oh, they quit on the company. And I have a hard time with that. Because, listen, there's a lot of strange shit that happens at work. Good, bad, or indifferent. However you want to look at it. Some people are like, oh, I have the greatest friendships at work. Or I found the love of my life at work. Or I found this at work. I enjoy what I do. But at some point, somebody will say, they quit on us. They left for greener pastures. Blah, 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 blah. The typical stuff that occurs. And I will tell you that as I look around at some of the landscape and the things that happen, I'm always amazed that people are going, okay, this is what is going to occur. This is what's going to happen. And that's that. And there is no wiggle room per se. There is no conversation to be had in regards of what we're expected to do sometimes at work. And so will people look around at other places? Absolutely. But let me explain this. People don't quit jobs. What people quit is shitty management for the most part. Think about it for a moment. Most of the times, if you have ever left a job, did you leave because the company sucked or did you leave because the management sucked? It's not a hard question, but it's definitely something to think about for sure. And I reference this only because most of the time they will now do one of those things of, can we have an exit interview with you? Now, exit interviews are interesting because they want to know, allegedly, the organization about why you're leaving. And most people know that depending on what the hell's going on, most answers there are not going to be truthful. And I say this from the standpoint of some people look at it and go, well, if I leave this place and I want to come back, is there an option? That's what some people do. The other question that comes about are the people that go, okay, if I am to leave, what happens next? What happens if the person that I unload on during this exit interview all of a sudden becomes a hiring manager somewhere else? Is everything that I say here going to be okay for the future reference? And that's the stuff that people worry about. And I always find it interesting, and I don't mean that as a bad thing, and I'm not even sure if I mean it as a good thing, but I find it interesting on how we would not be so compelled to say the truth. So as I look at this today and have this discussion with you, what do you think? Do people quit jobs? Or do people really just quit bosses?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing that dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice. Sold your rebellion as a new initiative. And smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth is mirrored so perfectly you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
Okay, here we are. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, you are taking a listen to right here, Watch Me Go Go by Kay Parks. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yep, a lot of stuff going on inside of the multiverse right here. No doubt there. No doubt at all. Okay. So, give this song a little streamer-eamer action. We would like to thank Kay Parks for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So there you go. There you go. Okay, let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Your Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be all kinds of information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. So there you go. Okay, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because, you know, some people will care about this. It's always important for us to talk about everything that is going on, because if we weren't talking about this, we would have to talk about that and so on. So take a listen to this. Kids today, smartphones have all ended real voice conversations, especially among teenagers. According to a new report in The Conversation, yes, young people seem to have their phones constantly in their hand, but rarely answer a call. Frustrating many parents, this reflects a shift in how 13 to 18-year-olds communicate. For them, voice calls are now rare, usually reserved for emergencies or urgent situations. While texting, voice notes, and social media message dominates the daily interactions, this isn't about laziness, but preferences for communication that offers more control over timing, emotions, and self-expression. Experts say that unreachable teen stereotype highlights the deeper changes in social habits and digital etiquettes among youth today. Trust me, they don't email either, so just keep that in mind. Take a listen to this. If your car breaks down, it'll still cost you about $500 it'll still cost you about $500 to fix it. And are you okay to cover it? Well, many Gen Zers would be about Proverbial Creek, according to a Credit One bank survey. It found that 62% of Gen Zs have no emergency savings. That's almost double the rate of baby boomers, 60%. Those under 35 said that they use credit cards for emergencies. Nearly half of Gen Z have go over their credit limit if needed. This illustrates the growing financial gap between generations and increasing reliance on credit cards rather than cash safety nets. According to analysts, the survey also found that 2/3 of consumers have 6 months or less of saving, with Gen X the least prepared. And 76% lack credit cards set aside for emergencies, relying instead of everyday use cards. That's because if I had a credit card just for emergencies, I'd be using them a month to make a minimum payment on all the other cards. So there you go. So what do you think about this? That's a change and a shift in things. That's for sure, as we are talking. So I don't know how your habits are, but man, the world gets interesting as we start talking a little bit more day in and day out about some of these things. Credit cards, some of the most dangerous things on the planet, if you really start thinking about it. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we start talking about something a little bit more positive, because that's what we should be doing. And I think that it might be time to bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Morgan. Eric Greitens said, "Teach your children early not to pass the blame or make excuses, but to take responsibility for their actions." I agree completely. I've had the opportunity to work with too many people who are very good at finding excuses. Sadly, they were better at that than they were at their real job. That's never good. Now, I've had to share an excuse or two in my day, but it pains me to do it. I'd rather work a little later to finish the project. I've pulled more than my fair share of all-nighters for that very reason. We had an internet outage one time during a storm, and I needed to send some audio files out by midnight. I found a cafe who still had Wi-Fi, and I made my deadline.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. If we are to fulfill our responsibilities as parents, we must commit to the biblical principles of child rearing, including discipline. Biblical discipline is consistent. The rules are clearly defined, and the consequences for misbehaving are appropriate. Children need to know that every time they are disobedient, they will be punished. That is not cruelty, but love, tough love. True biblical discipline is always an expression of love, never anger, and has a child's best interest at heart. Lord Jesus, forgive us for being inconsistent in disciplining our children. Give us the wisdom and strength to do what's best for them, regardless of how we feel. In your holy name we pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have killed at least 89 people in the past 24 hours, including 31 seeking food aid. Joseph Eckerson with the latest.
The attacks targeted displaced civilians in Al-Mawasi, an area Israel designated as a safe zone. 5 more Palestinians, including 2 children, died from famine and malnutrition due to Israel's ongoing blockade. The strikes also wounded over 500 others, overwhelming local hospitals. Palestinian health officials report 227 total deaths from starvation since the siege began.
Global leaders are condemning the targeted killing of 6 journalists in Gaza, including Al Jazeera correspondent Anas al-Sharif.
The Israeli strike occurred outside Al-Shifa hospital, prompting calls for an independent UN investigation. Mourners gathered for a funeral procession in central Gaza, honoring the journalists. The European Union and press freedom groups denounced the attack. Palestinian journalist Mohammed al-Sikli stated the killings aim to silence reporting on Gaza's crisis. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Norway's sovereign wealth fund, valued at $2 trillion, announced it will divest from 11 Israeli companies due to the Gaza humanitarian crisis.
The decision followed revelations of investments in firms supporting Israel's military. The divestment targets companies like Bet Shemesh Engines Limited, which supplies fighter jet parts. Norway's government cited the severe humanitarian situation in Gaza as the reason. The move adds pressure on Israel amid ongoing conflict. Chris Anderson reporting.
President Trump has deployed 800 National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. and federalized the city's police force for 30 days.
He claimed rising crime justifies the action, despite data showing violent crime at a 30-year low. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser called the move unprecedented and legally questionable. Protesters, including Free D.C.'s Kia Chatterjee, criticized the deployment, citing concerns over safety and civil liberties. Trump also plans to clear homeless encampments without relocation details. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A federal judge in California is reviewing whether President Trump violated the Posse Comitatus Act by deploying troops to Los Angeles.
The deployment aimed to suppress protests against Trump's mass deportation campaign. Governor Gavin Newsom argues the use of National Guard and Marines against civilians is illegal. The 1878 law restricts military use as domestic police. The Pentagon confirms 250 National Guard members remain in California. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Immigration advocates in Pennsylvania are demanding the closure of Moshannon Valley Processing Center after an immigrant's death in custody. custody.
Xiaofeng Gei, a 32-year-old from China, was found dead in the facility's shower. GE had been detained for 5 days at the GEO Group-operated jail. The facility is the largest ICE detention center in the northeastern U.S. The death adds to concerns as ICE detentions reach a record high of 60,000. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Oh, yes, there you go. Still hanging out here on Radio Big and Safety FM as we are doing our thing. It is 55 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's talk about some things that happened back on this day. Back in 2021, the rains for the first time in Greenland's ice sheets, highest point since scientists have been making observations there. According to the U.S. National Show and Ice Data Center, rain fell into several hours over the area, 10,551 feet up, and the unprecedented occurrence for a location that rarely sees temperatures above freezing. The rainfall coincided with the ice sheet's most recent melt event, in which temperatures got high enough that thick ice began to melt. So there you go. That happened back on this date in 2021. In some other news, let's talk about some birthdays. Miranda Ray Mayo turns 35, Tim Tebow 38, and James Buckley's 38, respectively, as well. Turning 42 today, Spencer Pratt, LaManna Morris, and Mila Kunis all turn 42. Kofi Kingston turns 44. Chris Parrish, 56. Catherine Bell, 57. Halle Berry, 59. Magic Johnson, 66. Marcia Gay Harden, 66 as well. Jackie Harry, 69. Danielle Steele turns 78. And Steve Martin, turns 80 today. So there you go. If you are looking at what days of the year to celebrate, it's World Lizard Day and National Financial Awareness Day. So there you go. If you need a random joke for today, here you go. The face of a child can say it all, especially the mouth part of the face. Just FYI. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. If you or your family had a hashtag, what would it be? Hashtag TMI. If you need a conversation for the water cooler, try this. Nearly half of parents have told their kids this lie. What is it? The Wi-Fi isn't working. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out with me on this lovely day. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. Let me remind you real quick, Conklin Conference coming up next month in September the 9th through the 11th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We'd love to see you there for us to cover and talk about the world of human and organizational performance. You'll get to hang out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jen T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, just to name a few, and I'll be there in a hosting capacity. So would love to see you there. So if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. When you're good at making excuses, it's hard to excel at anything. Think about that, because it's the truth. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Slow, make 'em whoa, whoa. Watch me go, go, go. Ready, set, like 10